Joining us to give us his thoughts then ahead of this huge game at Anfield is football journalist, broadcaster, Liverpool fan, Tony Evans. Tony, good morning. How you doing?
Hi, Tony.
Not so bad, Natalie. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Cass.
Yes, indeed. It's interesting, isn't it, when you consider... I know, obviously, Ruben Amorim is a slightly different situation because he's come in whilst the season has already got underway. But when you consider how Arne Slot has come in and then just taken Liverpool to this level of leading the Premier League, could go 8 points clear, have a game in hand as well, it all feels as though it's just sort of bubbling away nicely for Liverpool. But the point I was trying to make is he's come into a team that was already in a good place with how Jurgen Klopp left them, whereas Amorim, it just seemed like it was a mess from how Eric Ten Hag left it, from the previous managers at Manchester United as well. It's all very different in terms of the stability of both sides.
Oh, yeah, definitely, Natalie. I mean, I'd go way further back than Ten Hag. I mean, we're talking about it being a mess since Ferguson left. Yeah. You've had consecutive squads of players at United who've got used to getting managers sacked, who've got used to pointing the finger at the man above them and not taking responsibility. And it's wider than that because ultimately, whatever you see on the pitch is a manifestation of the chaos behind the scenes and in the boardroom. And Ferguson staved off the Glazers' influence, but once he was gone, his strength of character, you see it now. And Jim Ratcliffe's come in and not helped at all. I agree with Slot in that there's plenty of talent at Man United, but some focused talent, and it's talent that does not want to take responsibility.
And Tony, it's really weird hearing the weight of the shirt that we were talking about a little bit earlier on Manchester United players and that his players are afraid and talking openly about it. It feels that just doesn't happen. It never happened to Liverpool and it never happened to Manchester United, even with bad times.
No. I mean, the thing is, you remember, Tony, way back into the 80s when they weren't, United weren't dominant, but the United shirt, the red devil on the chest, made people grow and it made them battle. It's this lot of just, I can't believe how unconcerned some of those players seem, that they're playing for Manchester United and they're losing. But they're not losing because they're being overmatched. They're losing because they don't care, the lack of effort. And it's stunning sometimes. You watch them, and I accept under Ten Hag, the tactics were bizarre sometimes. I mean, playing man-to-man marking with a midfield that wouldn't come back and a back four that weren't equipped to do it was, a mistake. But even so, people were bailing out, and they still are. Someone's got to take up and accept responsibility. And that's going to be Amorim's big problem in the coming months, getting the players to do that. It probably needs a massive clear out.
Does it also surprise you, looking on at how Manchester United are faring under Amorim, that he has said, he looked back to that Newcastle defeat, 2-0 down within, 20 minutes or so of that game. Afterwards, he said, I'm not going to tweak the way I play. This is my system. We've seen that a lot from what Ange Postecoglou says at Spurs, what Russell Martin was like at Southampton. Now it's only Russell Martin that has lost his job. But does that sort of surprise you as well, that there are managers that are so hell-bent on playing a certain style, yet they might not actually have those players to play like that?
Yeah, it's insane, because the only thing that matters in football is getting points. The only thing that matters is being pragmatic and making sure that you get the best out of the group of players you've got. And anything else is just mad. It's insane. I don't know why. I look at Postecoglou, who I like as a person, but I'm like, how's he still in the job saying things like he says? And Amorim, when he comes in, says, United, we might be in a relegation battle. I'm like, Old Trafford's Roy Hodgson. And Tony, you remember how me and Roy get on? We love each other.
Yeah, look, It's tricky because we've got to be careful because obviously you're a Liverpool fan, I'm a Liverpool fan. Liverpool have had their bad times in the 90s. There were certainly eras where Liverpool fans base were very disappointed in the sort of side that was put together or the reaction of their team after certain games. It just feels like the contrast between these two clubs at the moment couldn't be further apart, Tony.
Yeah, it's a long way. And when you think, without a doubt, they're the two biggest clubs in the Premier League and two of the top 5 biggest clubs in the world. This is the match people want to see. You look at the television figures, not just in the UK, but across the world. This is the match that everyone wants. And United come from such a position of power. They've got a massive worldwide fan base. They make tons of money. Of course, the Glazers have siphoned a lot of that off. They should be they should be one of the great clubs competing for trophies. And I'm a Liverpool fan, personally. Professionally, I'm kind of neutral once I'm sort of talking about it and writing about it. And I'm sickened to see what's happened to United because it's a symptom of the way football's gone in the modern era, and that ownership. Basically, carpetbag and ownership can come in and have such a negative effect on a football club. And so, but today, on a personal level, I'm kind of enjoying United's pain.
I mean, it's crazy to think they are closer to the relegation zone, 7 points, than they are to the top 4, which is 14 points, the difference. Just lastly, we should quickly talk about Liverpool, really, because we focused a lot on Manchester United. As we've already said, a lot going well for them currently under Arne Slot. The only issue, of course, is those 3 players. They're out of contract this summer. What do you think will happen? What would you like to happen, Tony?
What I'd like, Natalie, is for all 3 to sign because the top-class players. I think Trent's gone. I was told back this time last year by the club that Alexander-Arnold was the priority. That seems to have changed. Salah is at the top of his game. He's the best player in the world at the moment and deserves any pay rise he gets. Despite his age being in his 30s, he's magnificent. You can't let him go. Van Dijk, in a similar situation, he's playing as well as he's ever played. And both of them, while in theory, are elderly for professional footballers. Neither of them relies on pace. And Salah, if anything, has got better. I think Liverpool have handled this really, really badly. Well, not Liverpool. Fenway Sports Group, the owners. One, you shouldn't let 3 of your 4 best players get into a situation where they're all out of contract at the same time. Alexander-Arnold should have been given an extension 2 years ago. That would have kept him there, and it really is a symptom of how badly things have been run behind the scenes and how a vacuum was allowed to develop in the final 18 months, 2 years of Klopp's tenure. And I'm not blaming Klopp for that because it's not his fault; it's the owner's fault. But you know what? Slot's come in. And he's exceeded everyone's expectations. He has a different mindset tactically and technically to Jurgen. He's less excitable, let's say. He's less combustible. And the players have responded to that. And Liverpool are playing better football than they've played in a long, long time. And I must admit, in August, I thought, they're going to be struggling for a top 4 place. And Slot has confounded me, and it's brilliant.
Tony, thank you for being with us this morning.
Always a pleasure.
It's an intriguing game, isn't it, at Anfield? 2 teams fighting for very different reasons. 4:30 it kicks off, and the Sunday session with Sam Matterface will keep you updated on that one.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.